so many past players and officials in the room, we're obviously going to take the opportunity to talk to as many as possible. So Rick Vidovic's going to, who usually does our past player interviews, he's going to be our, I don't know if it's roving or raving reporter, probably a bit of both. And he's going to come out and circulate through the room. So, and I think he's got an announcement about an important item as well. So I'll hand over to Rick, and he'll take control for the rest of the luncheon as he wanders amongst you. And I'm sure we'll have a great lunch listening to some of his stories from the past. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Dennis. Again, my own personal welcome to all the players. I remember them all, and let's face it, from day one, we look at each other now, and as I saw people coming in the room like Gary Smith, or Gary Lawson Smith, I don't know about that, I fancy a woman dominate the surname. You can't do that, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Also to see Brian Kemp. If you all remember, he over here, Brian Kemp used to have a short crew cut. Now he's got long blonde hair. We're all going the other way and he's growing. It's unbelievable. But there is going to be an auction of a Guernsey today. A set of Guernseys was made especially for this occasion. So I think John Spikers has got it. He'll bring it up and show it to you. This is the Guernsey that our club will be fielding on the field today. If you guys remember that, that's what we used to wear. And unfortunately, the Eagles have got a bit of an advantage today. We've got Simon Arnott with us. He's injured, so Simon's going to sign that Guernsey and we're going to auction it off probably halfway through the procedures as we go along. What I am going to do, and I would like to mention that the almanac, which is here, I'll show you the copy, is out on sale out of the by the windows as you're going outside. So if you'd like to purchase one of those, they're $13.95. So Robert, thank you again for that. Some beautiful information in that. It's amazing to see some of the stories and little figures that are in there. So it's good read, $13.95, excellent buy. Well, I'm going to start moving around because I think we're going to keep eating. We'll have a break for 5 minutes at some stage of the piece. I want to get a few comments from the past players, and as I get them up, you'll hear where we go along. So enjoy your lunch, and we'll join you very shortly. No, stay seated, don't be up there. What I wanted to find out was, we had Nick going his back to the restaurant, and he wouldn't play the first game, would he? And he put a lot of stress on our Hungarian medalist, Gary Window, to play. Tim, what was the story? Why couldn't you get a clearance?
It was I think a bargain of money by West Adelaide, plus they were determined to just teach players a lesson. If they left the club, they were still down. So it was really a standoff. I had to stand up for 6 weeks.
Well, that year you played how many games?
I think you've caught my memory out here because I think after my first game I got injured, but I think I only played about 10 games or something like that. I'll look up the record book to see. But around about 10, I think.
That's the idea to tell you. He can't remember, and if he does, he's going to buy the almanac and see how many he's got. That'll be $13.95 the almanac. Gary, you played the first game as captain. You're a local product. You can stand up too. I think the people want to see this. And now this is the haircut Kemp he used to have when he started playing, right? Have a look at him now, he waves, he's unbelievable.
Kemp, you have a look, you're a nice old senior, you are. You're right, old whitey.
Now the one thing I was worried about, I thought I'd get this over, because if I hand the microphone to speak to Gary Window, all of a sudden we won't get the microphone back, so we'll get him off early. Gary.
He starts doing it, he starts, Bobby Edmonds, you all look old, you bastard. Ken does, the coach, he looks alright, doesn't he? Yeah, he's alright.
No, Gary, look, you had a great time at Central, you won the Gary medal, you played a lot of good football with a lot of fellas. I do want to know some of the characters you did play with and what you really remember about the early days.
Well, I don't know, I can't do without swearing. Well, you got to get stuffy. Come to the bush, you know, we all thought he was a champion. Big chested, big strong bloke. They told us he had a diamond mine up in the Western Australia. We were in awe of this bastard, and the way he played was just the same. Warm chested, coming, I can see him coming off the half back line now. I was getting out of the way. You couldn't lead to him because he'd kick a bloody mile over here. He was so strong. But there was plenty. I've got to tell you one about Ken too. I think all the boys would agree. When we got Eustace in '64, we all thought, shit, this is going to be easy. We've got a superstar couple. We'll watch how he plays. And I think that's what we did for a full year, Ken. We put it on your head. That's why he's got his head.
Gary, you saw in those days you had some players that went on to have good careers at the club. We didn't have much success in our first year. We won games in our second year. You came back and coached. You would have seen some very, very good footballers go through in your time and even now. What are your thoughts on the better ones you've seen?
I'll tell you, we've got so many. Central's normal to you, it's been here a long while. We've had brilliant footballers all through that time. I thought in the early days, and Ken has probably talked about that, we didn't have the game plan how to do it because we're all learning something new. But when you get the platforms, all these blokes here that play, we did have brilliant players all the way through. It just went on always stuck with. We've got good blokes, Gruisic from centre forward, from Western Australia, Northern, they've got Castley, Horn, it just went on and on. Brilliant players, but we never, like Dennis Barrett, we went on. But I think all of us didn't realise how much it meant to us now to be here today. The Central's winning premierships and what those lads have done today.
Ladies and gentlemen, up the other end if you can, we are having a little bit of, it is the past players' day from the 1964 side. Enjoy your meal by all means, but give them a little bit of time. We do want to hear what you're saying. There's a lot of people interested in the noisy ones at the back. If you can keep it down, we'd appreciate it. But we've had a chat to both of these guys, but I think we've got one more story to tell, haven't we? They're working it out. Okay, let them work it out and get it right, and you tell us the story, because we want to hear the most important things, the funniest side, plus the serious side of what happened in those days, and get a full fix on what this club started out on.
Well, I think to be a bit serious for a moment, the people here would probably like to hear. We copped a real lot of rubbish in that day. Sonny will tell you over there, Sonny Moore, one of the best players we've ever had. The lads will all tell you, we were all called Pongs. We wondered, what the bloody hell's going on? We don't talk like Pongs, we don't look like Pongs. But did they give us hell in the crowd? They really, and Ken will tell you, the rubbishing we got, especially when you start to lose. But I think all of us were born then with what Ken tried to get into us, this will to win. And I know every week that I went out there to stand ahead, Johnny Cale 1 week, Simonson, the players you had to stand, you thought, bugger these blokes, if we can't win the games, at least all of us think we're going to beat our bloke. And it really put something I know that carried me through for the future. Don't give a stuff who it is. And that's why I'm so happy now, the boys winning these finals that go on, especially Port Adelaide. I'll tell you one Port Adelaide story. I hope there's a few in the room, the bastards. And now to see Arnott and these blokes killing the bagpipes regularly, it's like heaven every time. It's beautiful. Where's the bagpipes? Ah, they're gone, you pig.
Gary, well, put your hands together for getting you and Gary Winner. You're a hell of a big-chested fella, so Gary's telling us, so you can stand up and let us see how big you really are. We had you as a pastor, as a guest in the player from the past many, many years ago. What does it mean to you to see a lot of these fellas all put together in the same place? And bearing in mind we had over 20 out of the possible 37, 38 players. Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely great. I can't believe so many guys made the effort. It's really means something to me. I've been pretty excited about this. I just can't believe I didn't recognise so many of them, but a bit like me, I suppose. The big chest has slipped a bit. But, yeah, I mean, I'd just like to thank all the organisers, John and Jack Middleton, for all the efforts he's put in over the years to keep the past players together. I believe now we've got the largest past players group in South Australia, is that right? So a pretty good effort, fellas, for keeping us all together. And those guys that are here today and haven't joined up, I advise that you do, because it's a great way of keeping in touch with the club. And thanks very much for everything.
Colin, very well done. So we've got one more thing. Now, it was mentioned by Gary, and Gary does put a few things out in the bag, how much money he made out of his diamond mine in Perth. Will you set him straight?
Well, the diamond mine in Perth, I don't know anything about. The opal mining up north is not going all that well, but yeah, I like to get dressed up when I come here. It doesn't matter how broke you are, just look like you're going here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to start, please. Now, if we can stop this fella here, who started well before we started our first league game. He's got a little photo up on the board. If you can, at any stage of the piece during the day, go and have a look at that board over there. You'll see some of the 1964 shots of past and present players, whatever the case may be. It's fantastic. And while I'm at it, I'd like to thank Mayor and Dina for presenting that and doing all the work of setting up the room today to make it a welcome day for everybody here. So if you'd like to put your hands together for those two ladies in the marvellous job today. Now, Buddha, you have some stories to tell. You've had some. Now, I'll say this in all sincerity. Buddha is off the grog, but when he was on, he was on. He was definitely on. Nell, alongside of him, we always loved you so much, dear, because we knew you had 20 attempts at leaving him, but he kept. Now, look, you're still together and you're going extremely, and he doesn't drink, and he's such a gentleman now. He's on. Hello, Enrico, how are you? Very, very polite, the new mongrel bastard like he used to be. Buddha, tell us what your times were like in the early days.
Enrico, thank you. But just quickly, it's our anniversary on the 27th of 10 days' time, I think, 47. You wouldn't believe it. I'm still married to her. She still loves me, and I do love her. But anyhow, back to the footy. I must say, Ken never used to know this, but Stutley was the worst trainer I've ever seen in my life. We used to have little lights out here, you couldn't, if you wanted to cheat, you could cheat, and Colin used to. And he would do a little lap around the middle, never go past centre half forward, centre half back, he would just trot around the middle. The laziest trainer I ever saw, but one of the best footballers. He used to love playing Saturdays, but hated training. And window was as bad, he used to jump all over your back. Daly and I wouldn't get near him because he'd hurt our backs. But anyhow. And getting back to booze, I must admit I'm off the booze. I haven't had a drink for 97 Melbourne Cup since I've had a drink. But I remember one night, I was down here, I think I was 4, and someone yelled out, "Nell's after you." I said to Grunter, "What can I do?" And Grunt said, "Follow me." So I'm down behind the bar, crawling along the bar, and we got away. She couldn't find us, and so I could carry on. But we did have wonderful times. It was great to see all the old blokes back here. I just saw Dick Seacombe come in a while ago. Christ almighty. John Ashby, I couldn't pick. So there's blokes here that you can't pick, but Jono, Graham Johnston, great bloke, but he was a copper, but we had to put up with that. Jono's now retired, so we can accept him now. But it's great to see all these people back here, and as I say, I've virtually been at the club ever since '64. I still love Central Districts, and I used to say to a few of my friends, I'll never see a premiership, I'll probably be dead. But we've now seen the work that Chris Grant and other people have done, Kenny Russell, Norm Russell, Ken and Gary. It proves that if you hang in there long enough, things will happen. And I think it's happening for Central District, as you can see by what we've got here. We used to have a shed over the back there, Gary, didn't we? And it just didn't, it wasn't a footy club. I mean, I left West Torrens to come here for better things, but it took a long while to get better. But it did get better and has got better, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate being here, and I thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, Rick.
How are we going, ladies and gentlemen? By the way, the word grunter means Chris Grunt. And you want to know why it's grunter? If you've known him for more than 10 years, you'll understand why they call him grunter. Now, I've got a gentleman alongside me, as I said, he used to have a crew cut like Gary Winday. He was, I used to love watching this bloke. He was honest, a country gentleman, a farmer. You can see the way he approached his football. There is a very, very nice little story that I heard about him, and I only got told it by Norm, and I would love to relate it to you, but I think you'd better tell him. Tell him about the day that Norm Russell Bryan came and saw you in regards to giving you some antibiotics to try and fix this big swelling problem you had on your leg, and tell him what you used.
Yeah, yes, Rick. I think it's a well-known, proven remedy. This is, especially if you're in the country. But I had this crook leg and had my own country remedy for it. And when I come back 2 or 3 days later, it was all cleared up. And Norm said, "Oh, how'd you fix it up so quickly?" And I said, "Well, it's simple. You just go out and find the closest herd of cattle you can. You go out into the paddock and you pick the freshest, warmest, sloppiest cow dung. Sorry about the meal, but it works. It's a proven remedy. They do it for horses and everything. And stallions can get a bad injury. It's the cow dung poultice is great. But no, thanks, Rick. And I was just thinking, we probably all us guys, we're a little bit ahead of our time, really. Like the facilities we got here today is It's magnificent. We had the old best brick shed out in the car park, run across the asphalt in this bricks and sharpen them up well for the opposition. Wore the leather down a bit so the nails were sticking out a bit. And no, it's, but I really appreciate. I look back on those early days, pioneering. I think there's something about being involved with the pioneering effort, and that's how I treated it. Playing back in '64 with Centrals, it was we were pioneering a new club, and we probably didn't realise it at the time. But when you get a little bit more mature and look back on it, there was a great sense of achievement there from myself, especially being involved with those pioneering days. And yeah, thank you very much. It's great. I'm glad to be back here today. Thank you.
Yeah, before you go, there's something else I want to about. If you have a look at my height, look at Kempy's. Kempy was leading our first ruck, right? Now have a look at the height. I mean, he's not much taller than me. Tell us about some of the fellas you had to compete against.
Oh, I've got a shocking memory, but I guess you all know. Just one little thing. I've got my my Guernsey in the car, and if the team later on today, if they get an injury or two, well, I reckon I can still get into it. So I'm not too sure how far I can run before I do a hammy, but I reckon I'll get the Guernsey on all right, which I don't think some of these other blokes have played with their Guernsey. Not the clue, too, if you want it, if you see me out there.
Brian Kemp, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic. Okay, now we've all heard the story plenty of times, and I had to ask, and I've told it myself, the luncheon twice. We had two different speakers who told us about it. But a day we played at Glenelg, and I vividly remember it. Even though it's from 1964, this fella, we all want to hear the story about how you broke Curly's jaw. Frank Middleton, please get up. And what were the circumstances surrounding it?
Thanks, Peter. This is not something you want to share publicly, you might, but I it's a little like what happened last week with the St Kilda when Johnson got his eye cut, 15 metres, couldn't remember a thing. Well, that was similar. I can't remember either. But no, I don't want to talk about it, really.
I'll ask the questions. It was very, very good what you did, because we thought it was going to help us. Because we thought, that's it, Curly's off the ground, finished. Good. Ken, you were playing that day, and all of a sudden at half time we walked off, we got these blokes by the nuts, here we were. All of a sudden out comes Curly, the jaw swinging like this. And he came back out of the mouth. I don't think it put us all under the pressure, did it?
Yeah, I was surprised. I think if Bill was here today, as the past coach of this club, I would probably say the same thing, but you've got to have admiration for the guy. What I did was what I did, and I can't take it back, but I haven't. And it felt that it was the thing that should have happened at the time. However, I got a hell of a shock when Curly came back over after half time with a broken jaw and 3 tendons in it. But I think the thing that I recalled is the fact that he carried the game out. There's a lot of admiration for the guy's courage, and we all know that that's the way Curls play the game. But I think that the way I look at it is that it's something I don't want to talk about publicly, and it's just something that took place, but admiration for that guy, and that was it. I mean, yeah.
But that was done also protecting a little bloke called Ken Shortall. We don't remember that. Frank, you're a local bloke, you came from Salisbury area. Your brother also played at the club, he played with me and a couple other fellas that were new in those days. What was it like in those days? It would have been pretty tough, coming and not having the experience like most other league clubs. They had to walk inside and have to compete with ruckmen of the size of, like the Kernahans and these other big Harry the Horse and these sort of type. What was it like?
It was hard, I guess. My recollection of the first game against Torrens and Eddie was, I reckon wedge-tailed eagles wouldn't have been as big as the butterflies that I had that day, and I'm sure a few of the other guys were the same, but it was a day of great pride. But I had a patchy career, as probably most people will know. I had a lot of trouble with my knee, and my knee was all right up until Wednesday, then the bloody thing started to play up this week, and it says I get closer to this club, it gets worse. But I played over a number of years, but not many games. But I recall a lot of the ruckmen that I come up against. I guess the one that I recall most was Bill Wedding, and Bill grunted and snorted as he went for the ball. And the first time I come up against it, really put me off. What the hell is this? All this grunting and snorting. and he had arms, the top part of his arm was about 4 foot long, because wherever you were, the elbow got in your neck. And I learned from those sorts of players that you just had to go a bit harder, push a bit harder, and so I was lacking weight in those days, which I wish was the case today. But anyway, I think that just jumping in harder was the only way I could get against it. I played up against some good guys and I enjoyed it. It's tougher these days with injuries, but anyway, it was fun then.
Frank, lovely to see you here. Good to see you back at the club. Although we have seen you back in the before, but it's good to see you more often. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have your attention, please? So that we don't do it at the last minute and there's a big rush, we're going to have an auction for this Guernsey. And I do believe we'll probably get the first bid from an Eagles or West Tigers or Woodville supporter. Now, anybody that wants to make a bid for this, if Dennis wants to hang on to it, it's signed by our erstwhile 2002 best and fairest Simon Arndt, carrying his number. So if anybody wants to make a bid, please, by all means do it. Something that's worth having, and there is going to be another one done tonight with number 51, the captain's Guernsey as well. So please, start me off, somebody. $50, and it came from Woodville West Tigers. There you go. 100, 150, 200. We've got $200. We've got three. We've got $300 over the other side. 333. We've got 350 over there. 350. We have 350. Anybody get above 4? We have $400. We've got $400 once. $400 once. Come on, we've got more than 4 surely. 5. We've got 5 at the back. Thanks. 5 we have at the back. So we've got $500 so far. Can anybody give us a little bit? We'll take it in 50s now. We'll take $550 we have. $550 we have. And believe it or not, it's a past player that's put the bid in. So there, one of the 64 boys has put the bid in. $550. Don't tell me we haven't progressed since 1964 and gone a little bit higher than $550. $554. Can anybody beat $554? Come on, we're going to knock it down and I'm going to take 2. Yes, we have. We've got a $600. $600 we have. $600. $600 going once. $600, and it's still there, going twice. $600 for the third and last time if nobody wants to have a go at it. Anybody going to put their hand up for 600? Yes, we've got a 650. Sorry, Gary. NAP Oval, it's still got the naming rights, but you haven't got the Guernsey yet. It'll cost you another 50. You've got it. We've got $700. We've got $700 to Gary Stewart from NAP. Anybody going to beat that? We'll go $700 once. $700 twice. Last and final chance for anybody to get in. $700 sold to Gary Stewart from NAP Finance. Well done, Gary. Righto, Gary Smith. We all knew him as Gary Smith. He left here and was, I believe, sat out of football because Central Districts would not fee him. We all thought they were very, very nice in those days, but Gary, they didn't clear us for nearly 18 months. He just a week before me. And I know Norm Russell, the man that wouldn't let us go, was sitting in the room. And I told Norm already that we were both kind of throttling in those days. Things die over, don't they? We don't want to throttle him anymore, do we?
Absolutely not, no. Good to see you, Norm. And it's great to be back at the club where I started back in '64 with my brother Bob. Dad was in the Air Force.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, if we can, just for a little while. Thank you.
We arrived down from Darwin and trotted out to the club here and started playing in '64. I had 4 wonderful years here with Ken Eustace and Gary Window and Bob Edmund and Colin Studley and some wonderful people. And then the opportunity came to move to Melbourne and play with Carlton. And I had the privilege there of playing with in the same team as John Nichols and Jesselenko and others. I was kept at football for 18 months, but at least I was there for playing in those teams in a golden era of Carlton. I'm still a member of the Past Players Association in Carlton, and but I've always kept a close eye on Central Districts and been very proud to see the way they've developed and matured over the years, and now with its 4th premiership coming up, which is fantastic. So it's great to be back. I thank the club sincerely, on behalf of my family and Bob, my brother, the invitation for today, and want to keep in contact, and congratulations on what you've done. Thanks.
Good. Now, Gary, the other part, the lighter side, when you left here, as I said, we were Gary Smith. What the hell possesses a man that a woman can change his name to what we all knew him as, instead of having that, you know, like, we in those days, the poof has gone silly. He's gone and changed his name to Gary Lawson Smith. The hyphenation, what was all that involved?
Well, my middle name is Lawson. It's an old family name. It's something my parents wanted to do many years ago. And it happened. I went to Melbourne. I had a fellow actually withdrawing from my account. And I was about to get married, so I thought, why not? Let's do it. It cost me $25 to put the hyphen in there, but it's certainly part of my name. But please call me Gary Smith, I know who you mean.
That's fine, Gary Smith. And ladies and gentlemen, I must admit that apart from another guy here, Gary did come from Melbourne today, and it's fantastic that some of these people, the invitations were given to them, have taken the time and effort to come here for this one special day. And I think it means a lot to them, and it means a lot to us that we're around the club in those days to see you here. Gary, wonderful. Great to catch up with you. And this bloke didn't play a lot of league football, but he was a character in the club, he certainly was. I always wanted to know why he got the nickname Snifter. Snifter. Now, John, you come from Darwin. From Darwin, now that's a long way. Now you're up there with an old ex-buddy of ours that played up there with Julian Swinstead. How's he getting?
He's getting the millions day by day by day by day. Sitting on his yacht, I'm getting broke because I haven't changed. One thing in life that you learn out of football, at the bottom of the line, is attitude. But you have to get to about 60 before you realise that attitude is 10% of what happens to you, and the other 90% is how you react to it. And it took me to get to 60 before I learned to react to it properly, so that's why I'm broke.
Now, Johnny, you were a character, you enjoyed a bit of a drink. You had a brother Brian that also played with the club, and between you had a lot of, he was a bit different to you. You drank a bit and enjoyed your lifestyle. He was a lot quieter. But I wanted to draw your attention to the grandstand we got. What we had now is magnificent, what we've got now. What we had then, something out of the world on a Sunday morning, wasn't it?
Fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to let you know that he said, how did you get that name?
So tell us about the Sunday morning.
Well, Sunday mornings you recovered in the grandstand because you were so busy playing up that night before that it took you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in a game to get your half fit.
The disco.
Oh, the discos. Have you got 4 days? We used to have Sunday morning shows and discos and everything else. And this Sunday morning we'd had a win, and I was sort of over imbibed still on Sunday morning. And we had different sort of dances and set we used to ride on a Sunday morning. Now, there was, just forgotten the name, but she used to go down in Hindley Street. He used to go down to Hindley Street. And I said, oh, she doesn't look too bad. Cags, look closer. So, when I initially got here, my name was Cags. And if everybody wanted something, or they wanted to get something special, or they wanted to get themselves to go somewhere, or what function was happening, or they wanted to know something about a female, they'd say, get Snifter, he'll find out for you. So that's how the name got, because I could sniff everything out, chase everything up, and the bottom line of it was that that in the end, what used to transpire was that I ended up introducing everybody, they ended up playing, and I was watching it. So the bottom line is that, remember what I said, 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. Thank you very much for today, and pleased to be all the way down from Darwin just to share it with you.
John Kennedy, thank you very much. We are going to be pressed for time to do a lot more interviews, but there is one gentleman I do want to talk to who was a first 200 game player with the club, and you're going very, very well. Please stand up, Sonny Morey. Now, Sonny, I know, because I've seen you play, how brilliant you were, and I saw Gary Window play, and I know how brilliant he was. Now, you had a nickname in those days, which you're probably not allowed to use nowadays. It was midnight, they used to call you, didn't they? It wasn't offensive in those days, we loved you. And then now we can't get away with it. But Gary Window, he was about 11:15, wasn't he? He was getting a little bit dark, and I reckon he snared a lot of your votes. pretty close. Really good, Rick. Let's take it over the microphone. Look, I'm not one of the players that carry on and sort of manage the issue. Firstly, I'd just like to take this opportunity and congratulate all those men that played in that first side, both in first and second side. I mean, we were pretty young and we out here, thought we were good players. We taught a lesson. It's taken us a long time to get this point, but it's been fantastic. But from now on, anything else you want to ask me, Rick? Okay, I'm a bit concerned about Gary because the rest of us, and Carmel you coming in for somebody with grey hair, big mistake. You look around, geez, he's not too many with black hair. But Gary still seemed to have his natural hair colour. I think somebody's touching him up a little bit. The other concern is that the rest of us, and I look around and some noble gentlemen here, that's one of my mates, he's got nothing. I look around and Rick, it's sort of getting a little bit out of hand, and I know we're growing tall and going through the hair, but it's fantastic to see everybody, and good, you're still here, mate, with us, so it's great to see you good. And good to see the past players who were part of that group that play in that first side here, and Grundy and other gentlemen, Tommy Zorro and all those guys. Good to see you fellas here with us, and I'm sure that Granny would have put in some contingency plans for gas the bulldozers and stuff that takes the bullshit away afterwards. So we'll certainly be that need, I reckon, you know. And thank you for coming along. I reckon it'll be a great day and just enjoy it and enjoy the promotion and friendship. And thank you, Lee, for coming being a third man. Well done, Thank you very much for that. We have to have a couple more. I did want to explain what's going to happen at the Cole. We've got to take all the players across to the Oval at about 1:15 because they will be meeting the players. Then, of course, the national anthem will be coming out and they'll be lining up at the centre square. So it's going to be a good time for everybody to make sure we get out of here by 1:30 to get over there and give them the just rewards they deserve by giving them the accolades that we can remember. We tried to give them because I can remember the first game and I was playing under 17s at this Oval when they played at West Torrens, and we heard over the wireless, Don Eagles kicked the first goal in the second quarter and we all roared. Unfortunately, Don's not here today, but it was an emotional one for a lot of people to have our first goal in league football kicked, and we as kids, we aspired to get to the level they were at. And it gives me a hell of a lot of pleasure to see so many faces here. Unfortunately, we can't talk to you all now, but I'm sure in the course of the day, at half-time, when you come back into the past player show, and tonight, we'll all catch up, we'll all have a few bevies, and the stories are going to get wider, taller, thinner, fatter, you know, they'll all be there, and it'll be a great afternoon. But especially to all the players. Yes, John, I'll let you butt in again.
I just wanted to share something with you that a lot of people take for granted. We weren't sure whether we were in North Africa or France, because here when we first started it was like the French Foreign Legion. Everyone came from everywhere, country, city, Melbourne, interstate, the whole lot. So it was a hell of an effort coming from absolutely nowhere. I'm glad I wasn't Ken Eustace trying to put that lot together, because it was like, you wouldn't, like, I didn't know anybody for 3 weeks and I played in 3 trial games. So that's it, like, one was here next week, one was from somewhere else next week, you were tonight, so you know what I'm talking about, that's what it was like. A real potpourri for everybody from everywhere. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Again to everybody, thanks very much for your patience and giving the fellas time to speak. It's very, very good of you. We just hope you had a good luncheon. We wanted to present the players to you in a low-key format, just so you get a better idea of perhaps what times are like and the people there. And I'm going to get butted in on every time by these bloody old bastards again. What do you want, Wood?
I just want to tell you one story about the black fella. We're in... Whoa. No, I can say that to you. We're good mates. We was on a footy trip in 65 and we're trying to get the plane home. And I was having a drink with Sonny and I was pissed. And I had no money because I'd had my wallet pissed the night before the Saturday night, and we were out with Wale Roberts and Bertie Johnson. And the dark chap went up to the bar and the bloke said, hey, that bloody white fella can't have a drink, son. He said, but you're all right, but don't give him a drink. So I couldn't get a drink. The black fella drank all my beers. That's how it was in those days. But Sonny did look after me.
Sonny always looked after you, I can tell you something now. But anybody else want to have a quick word out of the past players before we close? close this off because we're running a little bit short of time. I've got to get you over there and make sure that we're ready for the afternoon's festivities. I think there's going to be quite a few thousand people that want to pass on their congratulations to what you started out with. Jim Bentley, yes, lovely. Sorry, Jim.
I'd just like to thank the club for inviting Shirley and I here today, and it's good to see all the old players. Just a couple of stories I'd like to say quickly. I'd like to thank Colin from the stiff neck that I've got all the time. Every time I played a game I used to get punched behind the head, and I found out years later that Colin used to do it. Thanks, Colin. The other one was, I'd like to thank Ken for shifting me to 4-4 one day when we were playing Ports. I always remember the game, it was a goal down, and he shifted me to the centre half forward, and was kicking into a wind, and I was a bit nervous about playing half forward, and Ken said to me, "You'll be all right." Matter of fact, I just got hit in the stomach and got winded, and he told me I looked like a sick kangaroo. And but I went back and I done a screwy, and we was down by a goal and we won the game. And if you don't know how that happened, I'll tell you. I went back, I was 80 yards out, and the wind was blowing in my face, was howling. I picked up the ball and I banged it. It was a big screwy, and it went that hard, the bladder came out, went through the points, and then it went through the goal and we won by a point.
As I said, they start getting good, they'll get longer, they'll get better, and they'll get wider, and that's a fantastic story, Jimmy. To apologise to some of the other players, we are going to have you back here at half-time and after the game, and there will be some festivities over there. Thank you everybody for your cooperation today and letting us hear the players have a bit of a seat-finding mission of what happened in the past. But enjoy your lunch. Make sure you get over there and put your hands together when they do come out on the oval and welcome them as they should be welcomed. They are the forerunners of this club, and especially to a guy like Norm, who even was there before, and Buddha, these fellas, we owe them a lot, and we aspire to get that far. We have now, we've got 3, we're heading for number 4. Enjoy the afternoon, let's hope we have a win. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Central District Football Club are proud to celebrate 40 years of league footy in the South Australian National Football League. The club played their first game against the Eagles, which were then, of course, West Torrens, at the Thebby Oval on 1964, and it's fitting that Central have selected their first home game again against the Eagles as the match to celebrate this important milestone. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the first players to ever don the beloved red, white and blue Central District jersey from our inaugural 1964 League squad. Please make them welcome in alphabetical order. First of all, the year played 1964, John Ashby. 1964 and 1965, Kevin Island. 1964 to 1969, Jim Bentley. 1964 to 1968, and again in 1970, Bob Edmonds. The season of 64, John Hatchell. Also in 64, John Holgate. 64 again this season, Trevor Chalmers. In both season 64 and 65, Graham Johnston. 64 through to 1967 with 12 goals to his credit, Brian Kemp. 64 through to 68. Please welcome John Kennedy. Also in the inaugural year of 64, Trevor Kearney. And the following season at 65, Graham Close. Four-year career from 64 to 68 and 27 goals to his tally. Please welcome Gary Lawson-Smith. Who's on the Guernsey in 64 through to 66 and then 1968 to 1969, Frank Middleton. Also in 64, please welcome Linton Reeves. And a player who was alongside him in 64, Jerry Savage. (1964) through to 1967. Please welcome Dick Seacombe. The inaugural year 64, Terry Sloan. Let's welcome Murray Thompson, again from the inaugural year of 1964. And also right alongside him, Stan Volbrecht. And thirdly, last but not least, in 64, Don West. Don's in very big trouble. He's in the hands of the Bulldogs. Never to be seen again. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our past champions, 1964. For those who followed Central District right over the years, I guess there's a common question that you've been asked many times in the past. The question is, how many premierships have you won? Well, that was a bit of a problem to answer at one stage, but it's changed, and it's changed recently. And we'd like to introduce, please make welcome onto the Oval in the first of our motorcades, if I could direct your attention to the right-hand side here, the northern end of the ground, in the first car, which is a Holden Hero Cross 8, proudly supplied by Peter Page Holden. In the first car we have the first coach and captain of the club, Ken Eustace. Kenny was the first coach and captain of the club. He was best and fairest winner with Central in 1967. McGarry medalist with West Adelaide in 62, and he played 107 games for West, 62 games for Central and 75. He was the first Central player to win a league McGarry medal. Best and fairest winner with Central in 65. Captain coach of reserves premiership in 71. Captain coach of the state reserves in the same year. And Central's league coach from 1976 to 1977, Gary Window. Also in the second car with the second premiership flag. I should have mentioned the first premiership flag was with the first car, season 2000. There's the second one, season 2001. car, one of the champions of the Central Football Club, Sonny Morris. Sonny was the first Central player to get a kick. And he played from 64 to 70. He played 114 games and kicked 8 goals. Colin Stutley. The third premiership flag is in the third car today from season 2003. And in car 3 is Norm Russell. Norm Russell has been involved as a member of the board and is an official with the club since 1959. He became a life member of the club in 1969. He was club president from 77 to 82, and his untiring contribution over the years has played a huge part in the strength of the club as it is today. Please put your hands together for Norm Russell. He became a director of the club in 1995. He's been a chairman of the Dogs since 1999, and in his time in the chair, he's seen the club become a powerhouse in the competition, which includes 3 premiership flags. I might say, folks, that the cars that they're driving around in, we're indebted to our good sponsor, Peter Page Holden, and also Holden Limited. And the 2 cars, the second car is the Holden Crew and Cross 8, with the go-anywhere attitude of the cross-track all-wheel drive, front road, no matter how roll, the beast can't turn. The travel problems supplied by Peter Page Holden. And the last car is a Holden Astro convertible. And that's also proudly supplied by Peter Page Holden, the car that will make you fall in love with driving all over again every time you drive it. Would you please put your hands together for Peter Page Holden and Holden Limited. This is an old club song that may take you back a bit from the past. The old Bulldog song. Kenny, welcome to the NAB Oval here at Elizabeth. A lot of memories for you.
Yes, it certainly is. It's a great day, and I think it's a proof that visitors' dreams come true.
How did you feel when you were first approached to contact to coach the inaugural side?
Well, I sort of thought it was something very special, and I guess my ego was running high as a 23, but I thought I could coach the side, and but I'd still like to thank SANFL for giving me the first opportunity.
Now, is there any favourite memories back then, Kenny? I guess you've been sharing many with the fellas today.
Quite a few. I think the second year was very, very good. The first year was tough because over and above trying to get the side together, every other side has made us a very chopping block for them, and they tried to use it for percentage. And I think one of the good things that came out of it is a personal one for Gary Window to win a medal in '65 because he was robbed of league football and probably state opportunities and playing a second for 4 or 5 years before the entry. So great for Gary and great for all the guys here that made league football.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Eustace, a true champion. Thank you, Ken. Now here's a man who's a man of few words. We all know that. And he's always stuck for a few words. But Gary, on this special occasion, welcome to the Elizabeth Day. Well, I know it's familiar ground for you, but it must be a special time today.
Yeah, well, I better shut up. I've got millions of memories, but I tell you, the best thing is to see all these Bulldog supporters here and waking up, especially the Magpies, especially the Eagles. We get stuck in now because of the free friendship. Thanks to you for your support. It's brilliant.
Gary, tell me, how did you feel the first time you ran onto the ground? Must have been a nerve-wracking time for you.
Well, it was, because I didn't have much to come up against, only Lindsay Head on the first day, and I remember Ken served us up, and I think we hit there, we didn't even know where we were. It was so exciting, but to get there with the work that Norm Russell and Charlie Pike have done to get us into league football was absolutely sensational, and these blokes have got some great stories. They were good teammates. They probably didn't train as hard as they do today.
The G-rated stories, Gary, or...
Well, the G, I've already heard a couple. They're shockers. I didn't realise they were so bad.
Gary, with the onset of the recent success, you must be proud of the club.
Well, just talking to Ken about it, we all went through those hard years and we started to think we're never going to get a premiership. There was real worry, and then people like a good mate of ours, Ron Whittaker, died before he'd seen a premiership. And I thought, geez, is that going to happen? But when they came, we all felt so proud that after all that time we've got the players now that can be top of the SANFL, and it was just a wonderful feeling.
How did you feel the first premiership?
Well, I can't remember it. I had a heart attack, I think. I think it was Hooksy then. He said he wouldn't give me mouth to mouth, he just let me die.
I think you were on radio at the time, weren't you? Commentator? But you must have been, as I say, very proud of that, just to realise that the club had finally got there.
Yeah, it is something, and I just got to I must thank SANFL. I don't think we do it enough. We went through a lot of emotional times. You had the ups and downs, and me being such a quiet person, as Norm can tell you, didn't get into much trouble. But no, it's so big that they give us the opportunity. We play league football, and the SANFL and the local league is absolutely brilliant. Kids need that to get on and go on with their footy. The local footy is good.
Good on you, Gary. Nice hand for Gary Window, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've got time to just have a quick chat to someone else. Where will we choose here? Sir, there you go. No, Gary, now you're a popular figure around the club. Rick Vidovic was telling me all about you, and he said he was so pleased that you were coming back to the club. Gary, those memories of the old days?
Well, for me, I played my first game here on that day this wonderful ground was open. I was 16 years of age. I don't know why I'm here really, I'm still no. But no, I had 4 or 5 wonderful years here. Fellows behind us, a wonderful captain and coach and Ken Eustace, and people like Gary Window and all of the team that we, I guess, started off with. I had the privilege of moving on to join Carlton in the then VFL, and had 3 years there with Ron Barassi and John Nichols and some other great players. So it started here for me, and I've always looked back to the pride of this club and what they've now achieved. And I congratulate you all, and certainly the supporters and the sponsors, for keeping the club going. All the success.
Good on you, Gary. Thank you very much, Gary. Lord success, ladies and gentlemen. And what we'll do, gentlemen, is just get you to turn around and just acknowledge the crowd on the other side of the oval, because sometimes they get left out. Good on you, folks. There you go. Okay. I'm sure we're all proud of the success of the club in particularly recent years, and we've got a real club, a forceful club to go on with in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment we will have the presentation of the doggies. Will run onto the field along with the Woodville West Torrens side, and then the singing of the national anthem by a local vocalist, which will ask you to participate.
Gave my team a premiership. They did. South Adelaide.
Let me just acknowledge again, because you can't get along without sponsors, and thank you to Holden Limited and to Peter Page Holden for making today possible with the kind loan of the vehicles. We do appreciate that very much.
Oh, for South, yeah.
We'll just await the players to enter the field in just a few moments. And we must also thank the Central District All-Stars. They're a very important part of the club. They do their bit every week at our home games, and we thank the girls very much for their participation today. I wonder if Sonny, we've got a couple of minutes, Sonny. How about a few words? I've been a good boy, don't impress me. Okay, Sonny, I'll ask you the same question. All the memories of the past, lovely memories to go back on. Firstly, very nice to see the old like here because it's my time between drinks. As you said before, the club is all hands and hands, and just like recruiting, hard work by a lot of people, unsung heroes of the football club. It includes trainers, officials, and a lot of other people who are all true to this club. And I just wish them all the best. A lot of behind the scenes, as you say, they make it all possible, don't they, Sonny? Going back to that first game, memories of that?
Certainly, yeah, I was absolutely terrified. Playing first team of the game with a lot of strangers. We virtually trained for a month together, and you go out and try to do your best, and knowing nothing, and absolutely no need, not knowing anything about football, and the consequences were there. We got beaten, but payday and revenge always comes around. It's very enjoyable.
We've certainly been a champion of the club, Sonny, and we congratulate you for that. And you've set down the tradition for what's happening today, and you can feel very proud of that. Thank you very much. Sonny Murray, ladies and gentlemen.
They kicked you off, I'm not staying if you go.
I might take this opportunity, we've just got a couple of moments, and we've got a couple of things coming up, and one of them I'd like to mention is part of our 40-year celebration this year is the Mad Hatter's Ball, which happens on Saturday the 5th of June from 7:30 till midnight. It's, as I say, part of the 40-year celebration. It happens at the Hotel Adelaide International, 62 Brawl Place in North Adelaide. $70 per head. It is formal wear. It includes food, meal, wine and soft drinks and music by the New Romantic. One thing I'd like to mention today, which is very appropriate to mention at this occasion, is that on that time at the ball there will be the presentation to all the players of the Central's all-time team, the Central District all-time team. I wonder if you, perhaps as an exercise, like to make out a team and see who you put in for your team. But the Central District all-time team will be announced on that occasion. We hope you can be part of it. Saturday, the 5th of June, you need to make your bookings at the club at the Hotel Adelaide International.
Once I look good, didn't you? Seen it?
I've been asked to remind you about the Almanac, which has been produced again, special commemoration for our 40-year celebration. The Central District Almanac with all the details of the club over the years past. It is available in the club today for $13.95. $13.95 is an excellent publication and something that you can keep and part of the history in your memoirs of the, as I say, of the club in the past. All the stats are there and some great photos as well. The Almanac, $30.95, available in the club today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the ground the Central District Football Club 2004. Let's welcome Gala Companies. Today, the boys are wearing a replica of the original Guernsey worn in 1964, and not only that, but one of these jerseys, in fact the captain's jersey, will be auctioned tonight at the presentations after the game. So, don't they look great in the original 1964 design for the Guernsey.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare.
and you can purchase them from the promotions caravan at just $3 each. You might like to get them signed afterwards or during the game, whatever. The players will be present at the presentations after the game. It's a real keepsake, the 1964 team photo.
It's on The Simpsons.
He's a seat, and he got a new job. 3 years later,